Okay, we're back with putting the wing sections together. For those of you who have or have not cut them out, because I had these as all one piece where I'd numbered the pieces on the back, it was easier for me to just feather them all together, and then I'll cut them apart as I need them. So I have them numbered. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the top section. And then for the middle section, I did the same thing. This one is not feathered because this one is on this piece. This is number 1. So I can just take that off. So that's number 1, and then this is number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and number 5, and number 6. So for those of you who want to put the first wing section on, and I'm sure that there's going to be at least one of you, you can take that off in the print where you're taking out the, hold on just a second, I can tell you where you can get it. You can grab it on, sure you can, hold on. Oh, wing, I'm looking at the wrong thing. It helps if you look at the right thing you're trying to cut out, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, I cheated. I have an extra print. But I did cut it out, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. I'm just going to put just a little bit of silicone along this edge so that it will stick. This is a little awl. You can apply your silicone with an awl. You can apply it with a toothpick. You can apply it with the end of a paper clip. And then if you, I'm going to match this up with that and just apply that. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2 is this piece. So I'm going to put a little bit of silicone on the piece, just a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit at the very end. And then I'm going to take my tweezers, and because I have a tab here, you can see here's the top part of this feather, so I'm going to line it up so that it matches those feathers at the top. Oops, right there. And that one is going to overlap the first feather just a little bit. Let me get him up there. He's off a little bit. That's the nice thing about the tab, is I can match it at the top. I don't care so much about the bottom. The bottom will fall in. Then I'm going to do piece number 3, which is this little guy. I'm going to put a little silicone at the top and a little bit at the bottom. I'm going to take my tweezers and hold on to the feathered edge. And then I'm going to match this little bump right there. So this is where this guy goes. And he goes over that way. So that's what the tabs are for. The tabs are to allow you to line up on the next piece. So as you can see here, let it focus a second. These pieces will line up with the print above it. Okay, then we have piece number 4 for the lower section. And then again, I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to match this with this piece right here. And then if you're off just a little bit, take a second while your silicone is still wet and push everything over so that it lines up correctly with the piece above it. You're more concerned with it up here than you are at the bottom because you have a better point of reference at the top than you do at the bottom. Okay. My autofocus go. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do the middle section. So if I look here, here's piece number 1. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to line them up so I know where they go. This is piece number 1. And piece number 2 comes off of this one. There's number 2. Here's number 3. Here's number 4. There's piece number 5. And there's piece number 6. So now I know where these go. I'm going to take my shaping tool and just round the back a little bit, just so I get a little bit of a shape to the feather. I don't want them to curl, but I don't want them to be completely flat either. Okay, so there's my 5 pieces. Here's my base. So I'm going to take a little silicone. I'm going to put some at the top. I put a little bit at the top and a little bit right at the edge. And then I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to match my top section, which is right here, and that outer edge. So there's the first one. I'm going to take number 2. You're not getting a lot of bulk here, so you don't need a lot of silicone. You just need to make sure that you line everything up correctly. So when you put this one down, it's going to line up at the top, it's going to line up at the back, and at the bottom. So all your feathers are going to be overlapping. Then you have piece number 3. I'm going to turn this way so that I can see my marked edges here. Now I can see this is part of number 4 that goes right there. So that gives me a point of reference as to where this feather goes so that it's lined up correctly. It's right there. Okay, so I'm lining up the top edge and the bottom edge so that all my feathers are going to come together and make a seamless wing. And you're going to have to watch it because the silicone's wet, so these will move around really easily. Okay, there's piece number 2. Piece number 1 wants to jump out. Okay. Piece number 4. You don't need a lot of silicone. Feather number 4 goes right there. Make sure that your bottom edges line up with the feather next to it, so that way you know you're up high enough so you're not going to end up with a big chunk of not covered feather. Here's piece number 5. I'm going do the same thing. Now see, we know that 5 goes here and it overlaps the one next to it, so that should line up with this feather back here. So as you do this, see if we'll auto focus. All of your feathers go together in a nice little feathered row, which is what you're after. And then number 6 is the last one, which you really didn't need to do because it's overlapped by the one on top. It'll just give us a little bit more bulk on the feathered edge. So this one lines up right there. Now my suggestion would be, let me take this off autofocus, see if I can get a little better. My suggestion would be, when you get these 5 on, that you let this wing set for a little while. And I need to fix this one because it keeps wanting to come out. So because this wing is what you might consider to be fluid at this point, because the silicone is wet, and wet silicone will move. So I would take and let your wing sit for a little while before you attempt to do anything else. Okay, you just want to make sure that your feathered edges all come together. And then once your silicone is dry, you can take a soft toothbrush and rub it over your feathers, and it will correct any issue you have with them not coming together. And if you look, there's a little bit of edge between each one, not much, just a little, to give you a little bit of a rise. Okay, so we're going to wait a while before we do the top section because this is way too fluid, and you will continue to move and you will have a mess.